The world of handheld portable gaming is a big deal, and while Nintendo may be leaders in the market with all-time sales of the Nintendo DS topping 154 million units and the Switch 126 million, there are plenty of options out there. So while we wait for the arrival of the Nintendo Switch 2 at some point in 2024, we thought we'd take a closer look at the best handheld consoles for 2023. Ready? Let's begin. So first up is the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme that was released on June 13th, 2023. According to nearly 4,000 user reviews, this handheld gaming device is way up there with a score of 4.4 out of 5 stars. The ROG Ally is said to be a strong competitor to the Steam Deck, even if it doesn't beat it outright on every front. Gamers will soon be able to choose from one of two options, either the version that comes equipped with the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme and is already available, or the standard AMD Ryzen Z1 that is due for release on October 3rd. The standard Z1 unit will retail for the very high price of $600, while the Extreme version is $700. Regardless of which option you choose, the ROG Ally comes complete with 16GB of LPDDR5 RAM, a 512GB NVMe SSD, an AMD RDNA 3 with 12 CUs, and a 40Wh battery. If information supplied by Keith Mitchell of the Haven is correct, the battery on the Ally should last at least 2 hours if you're playing more graphically demanding games, and around 5 to 6 hours if you're just watching videos and doing a little light gaming. So on this front, there's a lot to be desired. The ROG Ally is definitely a great looking console with an ultra-modern ergonomic design. At 608 grams, it's lighter than a Steam Deck, but more than 200 grams heavier than a Switch. But considering that it has a full HD display with a 120Hz refresh rate and runs Windows 11 natively, it's obvious that the ROG Ally is built for significantly higher performance than the Switch, and understandably so. I think much of the ROG Ally's appeal lies in the fact that you can play PC games from libraries such as Steam, Epic, and GOG, and when you purchase one, you get 3 months of Xbox Ultimate included in the deal. In addition, you can connect the ROG Ally to a TV, pair up 2 or more controllers, and turn it into a multiplayer console in your bedroom or living room. And with ROG's intelligent cooling system, you shouldn't have to worry about it overheating, though I still have my reservations. And since the ROG Ally has Windows as its OS, it's actually just a PC, but much smaller and portable. While the Extreme version has proven to be popular, or is at least seemingly well liked, it remains to be seen how well the standard edition will fare since it's significantly less powerful than the Extreme version. Based on its pretty hefty price tag and some concerns we have regarding performance, we're going to award the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme 7.5 out of 10. Next up is the Steam Deck, which came out in February 2022. Based on 200 reviews, it currently has a user rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars. There are 3 different versions of the Steam Deck that are available, namely the 64GB eMMC, the 256GB NVMe SSD, and 512GB NVMe SSD models. The 64GB version retails for $400, the 256GB goes for $530, and the 512GB comes in at $650, a full $50 less than the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. So what's under the hood? Much like the ROG Ally, it comes with 16GB of LPDDR5 RAM, but unlike the Ally, it features a custom AMD APU designated 0405, which is based on AMD Zen 2 and RDNA 2, so it isn't as performant as the Ally. The Steam Deck doesn't have a full HD display like the Ally and has a refresh rate of 60Hz, so display-wise, the Ally wins for sure. But when we consider battery life, even though many gamers aren't all that happy with the Steam Deck, its battery lasts much longer than the ROG Ally, especially when not going hard on the gaming side. With regards to cooling, the Steam Deck only has one cooling fan while the Ally has 2, but seeing that its internals ostensibly won't reach the same temps as the Ally, this seems possible. I forgot to mention that the ROG Ally also allows you to connect to an external GPU, but it's exclusively for the ROG XG, so not all that useful if we're being honest here. The Steam Deck may be a little bit older than the Ally, but even though it's less powerful and has a lower refresh rate, it does seem to generate more frames than the ROG Ally, at least according to what some testers have said. So what's the conclusion here? Well, the Steam Deck may have its limitations, but if you go with any of the 3 versions that are available, you stand to save quite a decent sum than if you purchase the ROG Ally. For what the Steam Deck may lack in power and added functionality, it's more affordable and has a better battery life overall. For this reason, we're going to award the Steam Deck a solid 7.5 out of 10. So even though it's now a granddaddy, let's take a look at the Nintendo Switch, which released all the way back on March 3rd, 2017. Based on almost 95,000 user reviews, the Switch has a rating of 4.8 out of 5, making it the undisputed king of the handheld gaming market. But all that aside, how does this 6.5-year-old console measure up to the ROG Ally and Steam Deck? There are 3 different versions of the Nintendo Switch. The original console from 2017 that now retails for between $280 and $300, the Switch Lite from September 2019 that goes for about $200, and the Switch Oled from October 2021 that retails for $350. The Switch Oled is literally half the price of the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme and $300 less than the premium version of the Steam Deck, so from an affordability perspective, the Switch still wins by a mile. Since the Switch is a bit older, we'll use the Switch OLED to make some comparisons. For starters, the Switch comes with a fairly modest 4GB of LPDDR4 RAM and has internal storage of either 32GB or 64GB eMMC. However, you can always buy a micro SD card to have up to 2TB of storage space, so this does help the Switch out quite a bit. The Switch comes with an NVIDIA Tegra X1, which understandably doesn't match up to the processing power of either the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally, which are obviously both much newer handhelds. While the Switch OLED has a larger display over the standard version, its base resolution is still 720p, and it actually has a lower pixel density, even if the overall image is sharper and more robust. One of the biggest problems Switch users have reported is that, over time, thanks to the fact that the Switch uses standard potentiometer joysticks for its Joy-Cons, they're subject to drift due to wear and tear and the buildup of particulate. This has probably been what's hurt the Switch the most, as Nintendo actually ended up facing a class action lawsuit. They did end up winning the case, but the poor reputation of the Joy-Cons may never be undone. Then in relation to battery life, the Switch OLED should last between 4.5 and 9 hours after a full charge, and according to tests, this seems accurate. Despite its age and a few downsides, the Nintendo Switch is currently the second best-selling portable console of all time and may even end up being the greatest if it ever beats the DS. And we have to admit, the number of awesome titles on the Switch really does make it an attractive bar. That said, with the Nintendo Switch 2 coming in 2024, you may want to hold off on getting a Nintendo Switch right now because there's a strong chance a price reduction may be imminent, but I guess we'll wait and see. Given its popularity and overall rating by users, we're going to award the Nintendo Switch a score of 8.5 out of 10, putting it a cut above the Steam Deck and Asus ROG Ally. And last but certainly not least in our review of handheld devices is the Analog Pocket, which came out on December 13th, 2021. From what I've seen, most critics have awarded the Pocket a score of 4.5 out of 5 stars, so it clearly has more than a few fans. Now you may find this particular entry a little out of place because this little number is ultimately for true lovers of retro games who still want to play in 2023. Yep, the Analog Pocket may lack all of the processing power, storage space and widescreens of the Switch, Steam Deck and ROG Ally, but it's compatible with more than 2,780 Game Boy, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance titles. For those of you who adore classic titles and old school games, the Analog Pocket may just be what you're looking for this year. The Pocket features a 3.5-inch LCD screen with a 1600 by 1440 resolution as well as a pixel density of 615 ppi. It's also equipped with a 3.5mm headphone jack, micro SD card slot, stereo speakers and charges via a USB-C port. As a bonus, you can use the Pocket to make music. This is because it has a built-in DAW called Nano Loop that works as both a synthesizer and a sequencer. You can even connect the Pocket to your Mac or PC or other form of hardware via MIDI and sync cables. Gotta admit, that's super cool. You can also connect your Pocket to your TV and play games with up to 4 players in multiplayer matches. What the Analog Pocket lacks in power, it more than makes up for in versatility, portability and functionality. Heck, you can even create your own games for Pocket if you want to. It's nuts. But now the bad news. Trying to actually purchase a Pocket for a reasonable price seems impossible right now. Looking on eBay, you can expect to pay around $380 for one, and on Amazon, it's $600. It's clear these things are supremely popular, but come on. It's obvious there have been some major supply issues, and apparently this is starting to come right, but at present, you're going to pay a premium if you want the pleasure of owning an Analog Pocket. As one Reddit user says, if you want an Analog Pocket, invent a time machine, go back and pre-order one within the first 10 seconds of it being available, and you should be fine. For now though, you'll either need to fork out a lot of money or just have to be a little patient, or maybe even very patient. Given its versatility and design but terrible supply problem, we're going to award the Analog Pocket a score of 8 out of 10. So in our opinion, the best handheld console of 2023 is still the Nintendo Switch. I mean, even if the Analog Pocket was the best, your chances of getting one at a decent price is minimal at present. Anyway, should you go out and buy a Nintendo Switch right now? I don't think so. However, if you currently own one, and if you've owned one for a while, then I suspect you've had a great experience with your console. But whether you have or haven't, make sure you let us know in the comments, yeah? The Switch may be old and have some problems, but its market dominance and popularity are unparalleled. So for 2023, the Switch retains its much-deserved crown. And that's all for today's video, guys. What do you think of our reviews? Which handheld device is your favorite? Or is there another console we didn't review that you think deserves the top spot? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily gaming, VR, and tech content. From me and the crew, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!